If you could visit any ghost town in the American West, which would it be? Would the gold rush boomtown of Bodie, California, with over 170 buildings still standing, capture your imagination? Let's count down 10 of the most fascinating ghost towns to explore as we travel through the western states. First up is Rhyolite, Nevada. Founded in 1905 during the gold rush, Rhyolite sprouted up in the Bullfrog Hills of Nevada, with electric lights, water mains, and nearly 5,000 residents seeking wealth. Today, it is an eerie ghost town with crumbling ruins of the train station, school, and bank building. Wander past remnants of houses, the general store, and the Montgomery Shoshone mine to envision the former hustle and bustle. Peer through glassless windows and climb rock staircases leading nowhere, surrounded by the skeletal remains that create a visually stunning wilderness scene against the backdrop of Nevada's desert and multicolored hills. It's no wonder Rhyolite has been featured in movies like The Island, Cherry 2000, and Six String Samurai. Number 2. Virginia City, Nevada. The Victorian buildings of Virginia City transport you back to Nevada's glory days in the 1860s silver mining boom. As a well-preserved ghost town, you'll discover the Piper Opera House, the 1876 Gothic Revival Church, the McKay Mansion with its lavish decor, and legendary Old West saloons like the Bucket of Blood, which often saw shootouts. Stroll down vibrantly colored C Street past shops and restaurants reminiscent of Virginia City's Wild West past, weaving through the wonderfully preserved homes, shops, hotels, and public buildings dating back to the 1860s-70s. Duck into the Mark Twain Museum to see the desk where he penned "Roughing It" during his time as a reporter on the Virginia City Territorial Enterprise paper. Partake in events like the International Camel Races celebrating Virginia City's frontier heritage. As one of the liveliest mining camps of the West. Number 3. St. Elmo, Colorado. At nearly 10,000 feet in the Sawatch Range, the unusually intact 1880s town of St. Elmo is a portal into Colorado's mining era. Explore the weathered buildings along its solitary main street and rickety wooden boardwalks, including a general store and schoolhouse. Peek through glassless windows and gaze up at the looming abandoned structures perched on the hillside. See abandoned mines carved deep into the rocky cliffs that surround this eerie ghost town. Take in scenic aspen forest and mountain views while envisioning the community of over 2,000 people once thriving here, when gold and silver mining was at its peak. Number 4. Terlingua, Texas. Deep in the Chihuahuan Desert near Big Bend National Park sits Terlingua, once the second largest quicksilver mining town in the world. Founded in the 1880s, Terlingua was a thriving company town and home to over 2,000 residents. During the peak of the Chisos Mining Company's operations in the 1940s. Today, Terlingua is filled with ruins and relics of its former glory. Here you'll discover Terlingua Cemetery with its white cross grave markers, and the Terlingua ghost town ruins of stone and adobe buildings worn by time and the elements. Take in the expansive views of the remote West Texas desert and follow old mining roads to explore the past and present character of this rugged frontier haunt. Number 5. Bannack, Montana. Descend into the 1860s gold rush era while walking through the dusty streets of Bannack, regarded as one of the West's most well-preserved ghost towns. As Montana's first territorial capital, over 60 historic wooden structures from the late 1800s remain, including the Methodist Church, schoolhouse, saloons, jail, and miners' lodging houses. Many feature period-correct artifacts that provide a window into pioneer life after gold veins were discovered along the creek in 1862. Today, over 24 of the weathered log cabins built by early residents still stand, encapsulating Bannack's legacy as a National Historic Landmark frozen in time. Number 6. Virginia City, Montana. Step back into Montana's 1860s gold rush heyday while exploring Virginia City, an entire town registered as a National Historic Landmark. Walk the boardwalks through over 100 intact buildings from the city's boom era, when it had 10,000 residents as the gold mining mecca of Alder Gulch. The 1860s architecture houses cultural displays, shops, restaurants, and refurbished businesses that thrived during Virginia City's lawless early days, including saloons, hotels, stores, banks, and the Historic Society Museum. Hop aboard a stagecoach tour for tales of frontier justice by the infamous Montana vigilantes who lynched Sheriff Henry Plummer. Number 7. Jerome, Arizona. Clinging to the slopes of Cleopatra Hill, Jerome is an artist's muse featuring dynamic vermilion shades and textures of an enduring spirit. This former booming copper mine town was once called the Billion-Dollar Copper Camp and was home to 15,000 residents in the 1920s at its peak. Today, the preserved buildings and staggered stair-step streets offer a glimpse into its lively past. Get lost wandering in and out of the historic hotels, boutiques, museums, tasting rooms, and restaurants that fill the structures. Stand atop the town's highest point at the Jerome State Historic Park and take in panoramas of the mine ruins and gulches 650 feet below. The area's native stone buildings crookedly line the Cleopatra Hill, weathered by time but not weakened. Marvel at the rows of mining shacks defying gravity and Mother Nature's threats. Peer out a mine shaft entrenched into the Copper Queen Mountain, drilling over 11,000 feet into the core. Jerome fully embraces its festive ghost town ambience with events like the Ghost City Fall Festival. Once called the wickedest town in the West, it's no wonder Jerome has paranormal tales around every corner. Number 8. Cerro Gordo, California. Founded after silver was struck in 1865, Cerro Gordo's name means Fat Hill, referring to its lucrative ore mines that were once extremely profitable. Walk alongside abandoned ore smelters and through the ruins of other buildings, like the saloon and bunkhouse, while appreciating the isolation. One fact about Cerro Gordo is that its peak population topped around 4,700 people, even though it averaged one murder per week in its heyday. Ultimately, the mines closed by 1899 as the high transportation costs of hauling the silver and lead over 300 miles to the nearest rail line outweighed the lost profit margins for owners. Now, Cerro Gordo exists as a well-preserved ghost town frozen in the late 1800s. Number 9. Randsburg, California. Randsburg offers a glimpse into California's mining history as a living ghost town in the Mojave Desert. Founded in 1895 when gold was discovered in the Rand Mountains, Randsburg had over 3,500 residents during its boom years around the turn of the century. Today, the outpost contains original buildings like the general store with Old West facades fronting present-day businesses and residents. Walk by the post office, jailhouse, and charming historic cottages from a bygone era, when the town was alive with hopeful prospectors and gunslingers. Ultimately, the gold dried up, mines closed in the early 1900s, and the population dwindled to its current count under 100, leaving Randsburg a ghostly vestige of its former wild prosperity. Number 10. Bodie, California. Called the best preserved ghost town in the West, over 170 eerie, abandoned buildings remain frozen in time. From Bodie's gold mining heyday starting 1859, sites like the standard consolidated mine outline jobs supporting its wild population that hit nearly 10,000 residents in the 1870s. Walk the dusty streets gazing through glassless windows of the Methodist Church, Todd's House, Wells Fargo office, the Boone store, and more intact structures. Feel the harsh conditions settlers endured with scorching hot summers, bone-chilling long winters, and violent blizzards that brought over 30 feet of snow. Bodie thrived as a Wild West gold mining boomtown, reaching a peak population of nearly 10,000 in the 1870s. However, Bodie began to decline after the gold depleted in the early 20th century and the mines closed. Several fires and harsh winters further destroyed structures over time. By the early 1940s, Bodie was completely abandoned and left eerily intact, with over 170 buildings remaining. Without industry or residents, the town became a frozen snapshot of its gold rush glory days. Now preserved in arrested decay by the California State Park System, Bodie is considered one of the most authentic and well-preserved ghost towns of the American West. Thanks for coming along this ghost town adventure through the American West. From gold rush-era boomtowns to isolated mining outposts frozen in time, I hope you've been inspired to visit these historical gems. If you enjoyed watching this video, please show this channel some love by liking, or subscribing, and stay tuned for more videos like this one.